God, I can't sleep. Then it's time for you to come into the Insomnia Hour.
Take all the times I wonder about you. Please give me just one chance. Deliverance to tell you one last thing. I see you in my dreams. You're going home. I wish that I could see your face once more. I wish I rising tonight. All the signs breathing life at its full, praising God with each break. The best that you can is better than you think. And when we stare to the sky, we saw a star fall and rise. God took this time for you to shine. For you to shine. So much brighter now in the Irish sky. Love and light rising tonight. Born to die. This one's God in heaven. Sacrifice that bleeds true with holes in your head. You'll not let me slip through. And when we stare to the sky, we saw a star fall and rise. God took this time for you to shine. For you to shine. So much brighter now in the Irish sky. Love and fire in your Irish sky in your eyes. I see you in my dreams. You're going home. I wish that I could see your face once more. For you to shine. So much brighter now in the Irish sky. With the greatest love, He has engraved your name, exalted high above to carry all our flame. I know that I will wait. I know I'll wait for you. You have embraced this night and helped to guide me through.
Hey everybody, this is Sasha, your sensuous voice on the airway on another Insomnia Hour Talk Show interview. We have something of incredibleness, and lately I've been getting a lot of drummers, and I think it's just because I'm drumming to my own tune and they're following me, right? So I have Eric Mattson from Good Luck, Ugly, and Makeshift3. How you doing today, Eric?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, God, I love it. You're an incredibly talented and active man. And I know you just had a recent interview. So you're just gearing up for these. And I received an invitation to save you, make you live again. Are you on a tour for yourself? Or are you just trying to get your bands out there? Or what's your endeavor?
Yeah, I think part of being in a band, not only playing live shows and recording, is you have to reach out to people, including venues, booking agents, managers, podcasters, people such as yourself during interviews, just because social media and the internet plays such a big part in a band's success nowadays compared to back when I was playing in the 90s when there was no internet. So I think part of it is, just when you're not touring or recording, there's other things you can do to get the exposure you need to be successful.
I think you're correct. And it's been, I've talked to a lot of individuals in the music industry, and I have found that things have changed since the 90s. It really has. And some of it is good, and some of it is, it distracts from the now. I mean, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I remember back in the 90s, we were making flyers with paper, going to Kinko's. A lot of it, was word of mouth. If you wanted to contact a venue, you had to call them. So nowadays, everything is email or messenger, texting. So it's a lot faster pace nowadays, but I also think the market is a lot more saturated because of how easy it is to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas back in the 90s, I think you could weed a lot of people out because they didn't want to go through the grind of having to go out of their way to make phone calls and make flyers, versus now you just log into your cell phone or computer and, you can reach out to people real quick.
Yeah. And I can see that Makeshift3 is the first of your efforts in the industry. Do you feel now that being so long as a drummer, being in a band, that your music is so easier to be accessible, that you don't feel like as worthy as it was before? Because I know, like, when I got a record or a cassette signed, it was like, but now it's just like you feel it's devaluing. Yeah,
there's something to be said about holding something in your hand, like a tangible product such as a band CD, cassette, a piece of vinyl, their DVD. You open it up, you go through the pamphlet, you read the lyrics, you look at the photos. Before the internet, that was kind of all you had, so you really treasured it. Whereas now you can go on Google or YouTube and type in the band name, and it's just a flood of just everything. Unless you're entertained nowadays right off the bat when you stream a song or browse through photos or videos, if it doesn't catch your attention, you're just going to move on to something else because you weren't entertained as fast. Whereas in the past, you really kind of held on to something that was tangible because of the value it had.
Right. I think we just need to sign markers on the band members and just take you individually and just say, one in a million.
Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening in that perspective. So let's get into you as a person, discuss your journey, you becoming a drummer, and then this incredible Makeshift3, which is a mixture of metal, hook-filled pop, punk, which is cool because I really like your song Locked in a Cell. That just blew me away. Love that one.
Oh yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun writing that one. Kind of different, definitely edgier.
Yeah, it's edgy. I love it.
Back in high school, there were a couple guys I knew that played bass and guitar, and they were interested in starting a band, and they were looking for a drummer. So I told them, hey, I'll go buy a drum set and try to figure it out. This was back in 1995.
Are they the same guys that you're playing with now?
No, Good Luck Ugly guys are different guys, different band, and that band is actually more active now.
Okay.
Yeah, so Makeshift3 started in 1995 when I was in high school. The first thing I had to do was learn how to play drums, so I contacted...
Oh my gosh. How did that go for you?
It was the first thing I had to do was find drummers. Drummers are kind of harder to find. A lot of people play guitar and bass.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's a lot more convenient. You can play an acoustic. You can play in your bedroom. With a drum set, there's a lot of equipment and there's no volume knob. So you're right off the bat, you're kind of limited. Right.
Yeah.
I reached out to one of my buddies, Mike McNamara, who was a drummer for the band 1208 on Epitaph Records. At the time, he was taking lessons. After each lesson, I'd go over to his house, and he would teach me what he learned from that particular lesson. So I kind of piggybacked from what he was learning.
Oh.
And,
did he tell you that his arms were sore a lot, so work out?
Yeah, he was like... playing drums definitely requires a lot of endurance. And
I would think.
What was funny was his band 1208, their singer Alex Flynn, who I also went to high school with, he was actually the nephew of the Black Flag founder Greg Ginn, which was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, another person I learned from was a guy named Justice Gomatico, who went to my high school. He was a drummer for the band Bloodshed, which was kind of a hardcore band on Tooth and Nail Records. And then probably my biggest influence learning was a guy, Russ Castillo from the band Dogwood, which was a Christian punk band from San Diego. In 95 and 96, I'd probably go to every single one of their shows. I would bring my VHS camcorder and film him, bring the VHS tape back, pop it in the VCR, and basically just kind of study what he did.
You are smart, because YouTube wasn't alive then. Look at you.
So, I mean, there was no YouTube back then, so you had to kind of either
be inventive, yeah.
And obviously in high school, I didn't really have any money to pay for drum lessons, so it was kind of just DIY at the time.
I'm proud of you. Very good, Eric. You stars. So you learned this journey through video.
Right.
And were your parents at the time supportive?
Because it was a punk rock type style, my dad loves the oldies, Creedence Clearwater Revival. So it wasn't, their taste in music, but they were happy to see us doing something, out of friendship, out of the love for writing music. They just saw that we were happy, having a hobby that we enjoyed.
Oh, that is amazing. You don't get a lot of parents like that. So it's good, good that you have that in your life.
Yeah, so they'd come to shows and, they'd watch us perform. So I would say, they were supportive.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. What was it like in your first show?
Oh, man, what was our first show? I want to say
Was you nervous?
Our first show was at our singer's house. It was a house party, and we played in his garage, and, a lot of people from high school came, and I just remember just being super nervous because I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never was in theater or drama or, had performed like that.
Uh-huh.
So for me, just super nervous, but it definitely broke the ice. And after having experienced it, it was definitely something that I kept looking forward to do again.
So you got this adrenaline rush.
Right.
Acceleration. Now, were you like, because, sometimes the drummers, which is really sad, they get kind of blinded by, the front men.
Yeah, I actually thought drumming kind of fit me perfect. I wasn't really interested in being up front on stage, being, constantly looked at. I kind of like the drumming because you're sitting behind a drum set, you're sitting down, you're kind of out of the limelight, but obviously you're still contributing to what's going on stage. For me, not being really interested in being front and center on the stage, I think the drumming position was perfect for me.
How many drumsticks have you broken?
Oh, man. Over the last 25 years, it's got to be, a lot.
Have you had people collect them and try to ask you to autograph those broken things?
Oh, yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, they want everything and anything. They want drumsticks. They want CDs.
Want the list.
They want the picks, guitar picks. They want everything.
So you've been running strong with Makeshift3, and it's been a good journey, right?
Yeah, that band, we ended up doing 4 full-length albums. We did, multiple national tours. We did a lot of compilation CDs, with big bands. Yeah. So
you were in there.
Yeah, we ended up playing on the Vans Warped Tour. We recorded with Jeff Forrest down in Double Time Studios in San Diego, who recorded one of Blink-182's albums.
Wow, what an honor for you.
Yeah, we played with a lot of pretty big bands like Dogwood, Project 86, Anberlin, Slick Shoes, Thrice. And so it definitely was a good experience playing live, recording, and just kind of learning the basics of the music industry.
Yeah, and it's a beast.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, I always thought, there's kind of 3 things you need to be successful. You need to have a good product, so you need to have good songs that motivated, I know a lot of super talented musicians that just, they're not interested in performing or recording. They just like to play in their room, and then that's the end of that. And then the third thing, I think, to be successful is you constantly have to reach out to people, not only your friends and family, but just people in the industry, such as booking agents, managers, venues, people who do interviews, because in the beginning, no one's going to come to you. So if you're motivated, if you're motivated, you have a good product, and you're constantly reaching out to people, I think eventually you will reach a certain amount of success.
Right.
Insomnia Hour Intermission.
Tell the saints that we are coming home. Tell the saints that we are coming home. From the battle, war is won. Day is come, our task is done. Tell the saints that we are coming home. We are coming. Whoa, 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 whoa. Dream of a place far away with no more tears and no more pain. Tell me, is this real? Can you tell me, am I breathing? We fight until our last breath. Not giving up, not giving in. The world will try to take us, but we know that you are winning. Take me far away. Take me far away. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Fought the battle, war is won. Day is come, our task is done. Tell the saints that we are coming home. We are coming. Whoa, 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 whoa. Tomorrow is not what I fear, but I get scared. I get scared knowing what will come. Tell me that it's paralyzing, but you will pull me from the ship. Guide me home, take me home. I know that you'll be there in all of my darkest days. Take me far away. Take me far away. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Fought the battle, war is won. Day is come, our task is done. Tell the saints that we are coming home. We are coming. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Fought the battle, war is won. The day has come, our task is done. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Tell the saints that we are coming home. Fought the battle, war is won. Day has come, our task is done. Tell the saints that we are coming home. We are coming.
how it is with Good Luck Ugly now, right? Interesting name, by the way. And I love the pixelated art. Is it like based off of video games, like Atari?
Yeah, so on the first full-length album we did called Side Hugs and Backstabs, the cover has kind of a Nintendo box theme, you know, the NES from the 80s.
I love it.
Yeah, so all the Nintendo cartridge art back in the 80s was definitely pixelated, and we're all we're all video game fans. And then the actual name Good Luck Ugly actually came from the singer vocalist Mike Alvarez. He was just saying that he was told something similar to that his whole life, and he wanted to turn it into a band name to kind of empower the underdog. He always he always kind of felt like a nerd and had some rough times as a kid, and so the name made sense. He kind of wanted to turn a negative into a positive, and he wanted to take something that he heard as a kid, make it into the name of a band, and put a spin on it, and kind of think to himself, hey, you know what? I'm going to be happy and have a good life regardless of, you know, other people's opinion. But he also just says it was a stupid name he came up with. So, yeah, interesting.
Well, it's not stupid. It's very interesting. And especially with the pixelated art, it just screams, get to know me.
Right.
Now, this is a totally different sound than the Makeshift3.
Yeah, Makeshift3, our first album that was released in '96, had kind of an old school punk sound to it, like a Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, Vandals, Guttermouth, just kind of an 80s, early 90s raw punk sound. And then our second album, Fuel for Life, which was released in 1999, had just a straight up pop punk sound, kind of like a Blink-182 Green Day. And then the third album we released in 2001 called Game Day had a pop punk sound to it, but we started to experiment with a little bit of metal just because we loved bands like Pantera.
Amen.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then the Fluorescent Black album, our fourth album that we released in '05, it basically was almost 50% metal, 50% pop punk, just because we still love our influences like Blink-182, Dogwood, Green Day, but still we're getting into the hardcore scene with like As They Lay Dying, Thrice, Under Oath. And so it was just fun to kind of try something new, and we felt like it wasn't being done at the time. And so really all four of the albums from Makeshift3 are a lot different, whereas Good Luck Ugly is definitely a kind of pop punk ska style with some kind of classic 90s vibe to it, just because we're a little bit older now. And, still going back to our roots. Yeah,
sometimes that's the best, just stay there. Because, you know, people try to reinvent it, kind of like movies. They have the old movie, and then they try to reinvent it, and it's just like, stay. So how do you feel, and I'm not trying to put you in a biasness position, do you feel more successful with Makeshift3 or, you know?
I would say right now more successful with Good Luck Ugly because we are very active. We're constantly playing shows. We're constantly writing new songs. We're releasing music videos. You know, we're selling a lot of merchandise at shows and online. Definitely more success right now with Good Luck Ugly.
Wow, that's great. And I'm so happy for that.
Oh, thank you.
It's, you know, I mean, are you still active in Makeshift?
I mean, nowadays with the internet and social media, and just all the contacts I had made with that band, we're kind of indirectly active online because people are obviously still listening to it. They have a lot of access to all the photos, and they're commenting on social media posts and so forth. But as far as physically active playing shows, no, not at all.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty much putting that as like a hiatus archivement of a band, so people can just know historically to go there and find your passion and your building, and then to the now with, you know, Good Luck Ugly. So
right. Yeah,
yeah.
Makeshift3 was definitely a huge part of my life, and I have a lot of respect for the guys and everything we did, and I'm just, happy to look back and have good memories with that band. And hopefully,
hey guys, we love you.
Yeah, and I would love to do something with the guys in the future, but everything right now is focusing on Good Luck Ugly.
Well, tell me a little bit about the guys in Good Luck Ugly. Who are your teammates in this? Give me their names.
Okay, so Mike Alvarez, he's the founder of the band. He is the youngest one, and he is
not with curls, right? Sorry, Brady Bunch joke.
He's a huge ska fan, and I was never really a fan of ska. None of my friends really listened to it, so I never got into it. But now, having known Mike and played, some ska-related songs, it's definitely starting to grow on me, and I'm just starting to get into the genre more. But he does all the songwriting. He does all the graphic design. He does a lot of the YouTube content.
Oh, nice.
So he does a lot of the social media. So he's also talented in that aspect of things. And he's also just, he loves punk rock and ska, whereas Chris Benner, the bassist, he's the oldest one, and he has roots from the 80s playing in punk bands. So all three of us actually come from kind of different decades. Chris is from the 80s. I'm more from the 90s, whereas Mike is kind of more the 90s, but a lot more into the 2010 era. So we all bring something different to the band from different eras, which is kind of nice.
Nice. So you're like the Trinity searching for the Holy Grail. Sounds
exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds great. How often do you guys meet to play? You still brand practice?
Yeah, so the goal from the get-go was to play at least once a week, whether it was a show or practice. So if we have a show, this weekend, then we wouldn't practice. But that changes. Right now we're starting to write a third album. With the internet and the way texting works, it's compared to, say, the 90s where you had to meet up and pretty much introduce the songs to each other physically. Now Mike can send us the songs that he wrote. We can kind of learn them. Once we feel comfortable, then we can go meet up either at a rehearsal studio or Chris's personal studio and rehearse it there. I would say the goal is at least once a week, unless we're doing like a mini tour or we're getting ready to record.
Nice. Now, you said album, which I'm so proud of you for saying that, because a lot of bands, and I'm not bashing, they're producing singles. And it's very irritating. Because I want all of it at once. I mean, just
yeah,
it's like they're quick satisfaction. You know what I mean?
I noticed that too. I noticed the trend is to, especially for up and coming bands, is to either release a single or maybe like a 3, 4, 5 song EP. And I think the reason is, so back in the day with Makeshift3, or any band that released an album or a record, you would pretty much sign with a record label who gave you a budget to go into the studio and make the album. Nowadays, I mean, because recording is so expensive in a real studio, it's a lot cheaper for people to just do something DIY at home, put it out, and then just go from there. So the days of young up and coming bands or newer bands recording a full length in a studio like it was back in the day are kind of over. Everything is just kind of DIY, short and simple. But because our bass player has a full studio, we were able to focus on, doing a full record.
Nice. And that's what you get for stability.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so proud. So this next album, is it going to be themed?
I actually don't know what the theme's going to be. We've written about 6 or 7 songs so far.
Nice.
But I definitely think it will have a classic vibe to it. And there will definitely be a little bit more ska this time around.
Very nice. So that's great. Is there, anybody you would like to thank or plug at this time?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank, everyone that's supported us coming to shows, everyone that's been buying our merchandise online. Just do a search on Google for either Makeshift3 or Good Luck Ugly, and they're pretty rare band names, so everything should come up on YouTube. We have music videos, obviously social media, so check out our Facebook page, Instagram, like us, follow us, and we'd love to see everyone at a show and come talk to us.
We'll definitely be dropping those links down, so if people are not listening to or are actually on the computer and not just listening to the audio, they can press the links and find you. Absolutely. Support these bands, the historical one and the present one.
Right.
Thank you so much for indulging the Insomnia Hour about you, and I hope that you get new fans and some great feedback for your new album. And we'll definitely have you back on to, or give a review on that album if you let us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. You're such fun, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continue reaching your goals, bud.
There's a sad sort of clanging from the clock in the hall, and the bells in the steeple too. And up in the nursery, an absurd little bird is popping out to say cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Regretfully they tell us, but firmly they compel us to say goodbye to